Welcome to a Community Partners interview where we explore the organizations, opportunities, and resources that look to make change in our daily lives. I'm your host, Davy Au, and you're listening to Voices for Ability Radio. All abilities, all the time. Today, I'm joined by Amber McKinley, the Executive Director at Sunrise. Now, in 1991, recent high school graduates saw a need in their community. They witnessed the challenges and barriers that youths and adults with developmental disabilities face, and so their dream was to create a space where individuals with disabilities had equitable access to recreational activities alongside their peers. From this dream, Sunrise was born. Sunrise has adapted, grown, and changed since then to ensure they continue providing the services and supports individuals with disabilities seek within the GTA. And at the base of all their services is the mission of creating an inclusive and uplifting environment for the individuals they serve. Thanks for joining us today, Amber.
Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. Now, to begin, for our listeners who've been with us for a while or just joining us for the first time, why don't you give us a little insight into you? Like what inspired you to work at Sunrise and with individuals with disabilities and whatnot?
Sure. So I actually first became introduced with this entire population and Sunrise itself as a placement student in post-secondary education. So I was a field placement student here while I completed my child and youth worker diploma at Durham College. And I had never really experienced supporting individuals with disabilities before that in my life. And it really changed my entire outlook on everything. I fell in love with the field, with the people we supported, with what we were doing. So I haven't left since, and I've worked in various areas within Sunrise, but I'm very happy to now be the executive director.
Well, absolutely, and I can definitely relate to you on the introduction to this amazing community as well. Up until just recently, I didn't have any experience whatsoever either until I did my own post-secondary internship with Connect for Life. Voices for Ability sort of partner conglomerate, as I'll call them. But yeah, it was an eye-opening experience for me, and as I'm sure it was eye-opening for you, and clearly it was eye-opening, seeing as now you're responsible for practically running the show.
I am, yeah. It's been a long journey, but an amazing one, and it's so true what they say that if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life, and that's very much how it feels when I come here. So.
Oh, absolutely, and I'll bet. Now, in preparing for our talk today, I gotta say, I took a look into every possible source that I could. Just to see what Sunrise was all about, and I got to say, what I found was absolutely amazing. Where do we begin? But where do we begin, though? Let's see. I noticed that you have a day program. You also have a community program, even a recreation program. Now, beginning with those, do you think that you could tell us what each of those programs entails and what kind of activities may be included?
Sure. So I'll start with our recreation program because that's really the foundation of Sunrise, and it's why we were founded in 1991. We started off as a very small grassroots organization. Again, just recent high school graduates who had a peer who went to school with them, who they witnessed that they weren't able to go to maybe summer camp opportunities like they were, and they were just excluded from certain opportunities. So they really created Sunrise for that purpose, and it's grown. But our recreation program now still kind of operates with that mentality of creating a space where individuals, whether they have a disability or they don't, can come together and engage in an activity, together as a group, instead of perhaps going out with a respite worker or doing that one-on-one type opportunity. It creates that sense of community and family and belonging. So some of the events that we offer are dinner and movie nights here at our building, dances, cooking classes, art workshops. We offer an overnight New Year's Eve bash at Camp Samac. We do weekend retreats at Camp Samac. We do a week-long overnight summer camp at a beautiful camp called Camp Kodiak, 3 hours away. So they stay for the full week in cabins with their friends. We also try to see local productions in plays. So we've gone to, the Whitby Courthouse Theater, Oshawa Little Theater to see productions there. Bowling, you name it, we have probably done it or tried to do it. If there's any, area that we find our friends are not able to access equitably, we try to provide that here. And then the other two programs, so we have our community program and our day program. So our day program is Monday to Friday here at our main location. Each day of the week, we offer different structured activities. It's kind of geared for those who have graduated high school, but maybe can't enter the workforce easily or right away without support. So we do things like baking or hot lunch, life skills, fitness, things to keep us engaged and learning while still maintaining that sense of community. And then our community program was actually a newer program. We've been operating that for a little over a year, and it was created because we have a huge wait list for our day program. There's a big need for services within day programs in the Durham region. So we created that. We've partnered up with the town of Whitby as well as the town of Ajax. We're so grateful for their partnerships. So 2 of those days of the week, they attend a different location and operate a day program there. And then 1 day of the week, we actually rent a hall as well. So that operates 3 days a week. Similar programs, life skills based programs, but they really focus on going out into the community, learning how to use the bus, learning to be safe in the community. So, it's kind of like our day program, but with a little bit of a twist.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing to know. And on top of that, supporting local businesses and productions here at home as well in Oshawa, more specifically from what I heard you mentioning too.
Yes, that's very important for us. Even our day program, we recently got a Trillium grant to get some vehicles, which was so needed. But now we're able to really immerse ourselves into the community, which is so important too, just for representation, right, and a feeling of belonging. So we're always visiting local bowling alleys, the movie theaters, restaurants. We try really hard to connect with our neighbors and our community as much as we can.
No, absolutely, well, absolutely, and that makes total sense. Like, and if I may put in a plug, if you're, I don't know if any of those you help out are interested in indie rock at all, but there is a local artist there by the name of Cassidy Jane, who actually plays at a lot of the local venues. So if there's another musical asset, another asset or musical facet that you could also potentially include too.
Definitely. We always love to hear ideas from our community and what else is out there that we can access and connect with. So I love that.
Well, I'm glad, honestly. And now, pivoting from there, you did mention schooling and the high school, and then the whole idea of those getting into the workforce. On that note, I also noticed that you take in some students for placement. Now, in that sense, how could you tell us about how students can apply for placements with Sunrise?
For sure. So I always try to direct everyone who's interested in learning more to check out our website and our social media. That's probably the easiest way to get access to us. We have a contact form on our website. So whether you're interested in a student placement or volunteering, we always need volunteers as well. We accept, anyone who's in high school and older. So it's a great way to get hours. Just sending us a contact note, we get in touch. It's a quick Zoom interview, very painless procedure, and then you're good to go. So yeah, we accept lots of placement students all year round.
Well, that's absolutely amazing to know. On a similar note, if a person wanted to sort of volunteer at Sunrise or even become a member, what are the processes like for both? And are there any sort of restrictions to volunteering or becoming a member or being a student on placement, like age, disability, caregivers, anything of that nature?
For sure. So I'll start with volunteers first. So again, anyone who's graduated grade 8 is able to apply to be a volunteer here at Sunrise. If they're over the age of 18, we do require a vulnerable sector police check. That's just because we do support some vulnerable individuals. So we want to make sure that everybody's safe. So that's pretty well the only requirement. Again, there's a quick Zoom interview process and a little bit of intake training. What's nice about volunteering with Sunrise is that there are no restrictions on, how often you have to volunteer. If you can only volunteer once a year, we have lots who do that. They just come to summer camp. So we're very flexible for our volunteers. In terms of membership, so similar process to reaching out to us, send us an intake form, a contact form, and just say that, I'm interested in learning more about becoming a member. We do have an annual membership fee for those individuals. So that just helps cover all those overhead costs that each charity kind of deals with. And our only real requirements around support is that they're about a 1-to-4 support ratio, we say. And that's, pretty flexible depending on on who the person is and what kind of supports they need. So we really work with the guardian or the family to determine, what are their support needs? Can we provide that to them and give them the care and the support that they deserve? And if not, then there is an opportunity for them to then bring in a family member or a worker with them to attend, say a recreational event. So there are some restrictions around us providing staff support, but everyone is pretty well welcome as long as, they have the support that they need, if that makes sense. And the same age as well. So, as long as they've graduated grade 8, we accept members who are in high school if they want to attend our recreational events.
And that's absolutely amazing to know. And now, of the people who attend any of your events, or just anyone who crosses paths with Sunrise in general, without naming any names, are there any success stories that you could share with us about said individuals? Again, without naming any names, of course.
Sure. So the member who actually, was the reason that Sunrise started is still with us today, which is a kind of a nice story. Whenever someone comes in for an interview, I always introduce him to them and say, he's the reason that we're here. And just seeing the growth and the found family that he has here. Of course, he has his own family at home, but just that connection that he's had here is really nice to see. Another story as well is we have 3 young ladies here who met through Sunrise and became very, very close, best friends. They'd actually go out privately for respite as well together, and just the best of friends. And recently, unfortunately, one of those young ladies passed away, which was very difficult for our entire organization, but it really did bring into focus for myself and for everyone here how phenomenal it is that they had that connection and that friendship. And without Sunrise, that might not have happened. So just having this space where, all individuals, regardless of their ability, can come together and create that type of friendship and relationship, just it makes it all worth it. And it's, it's why we're all here as humans, is to connect and to make friends and family. So it's, that's one of my favorite kind of moments where, as sad as it was, it also reminded me of why what we do is so important.
Absolutely, and I completely agree. And now, before we take before we sort of polish off our time together, I do want to ask you my favorite question, a question that I do love asking every single one of our guests who do come onto this segment. In your opinion, what's one thing that you see happening repeatedly to individuals with disabilities that shouldn't be, and how do we go about stopping it?
There's a lot of things, for sure. For me, I know a big thing that we're seeing right now is just, and for everybody, is the lack of housing, but especially for individuals with disabilities, I find that is an area that is, becoming a bit of a crisis, to be completely honest, with this population. There are aging families and aging individuals that we're caring for that don't have any long-term plans once, maybe their caregivers or families are no longer able to provide that care. So I think that that's a big gap in service that needs to be addressed. And then I think overall, just an understanding and acceptance of what it's like to have a disability, right? I think for many people, you navigate the world and don't maybe see these areas that are restricted to certain people until you're in a position like I am, where I'm supporting an individual with a disability and I notice, we can't access this because it doesn't have a wheelchair ramp, or this facility is not really sensory friendly, so it's not going to be a good option for us. So I think, overall, just education, awareness, which is part of what we do, is just making sure that the individuals we support have a presence and a voice in their community, because I think that helps with that education. Otherwise,
experiencing a beautiful sunrise, I would say, and in keeping with the name of the organization too.
Yes. Exactly.
And on that note, you did mention, I did remember you mentioning events and all that stuff earlier, and be it with the programs that you offer or whatever else. Will there be any events coming? Are there any events coming up that Sunrise will either be taking part in or hosting, other than the sort of programs that you offer?
So we try to offer, various community educational kind of workshops when we can. We are going to be attending a community kind of awareness event put on by Autism Home Base. They're an amazing organization located in Bowmanville. So they're hosting this great event for like-minded organizations to come together and share with the community, what we do. So that's something that's coming up, I believe, on May 29th. So that's something to look forward to. And yeah, they're following us on social media, and our website is always the easiest way to see if anything new is coming out, if there's any new exciting things. And yeah, just reaching out if you want to learn more.
Of course. And a quick shout out to Autism Home Base, who we recently had on the show as well.
Amazing.
Of course. Thank you for that as well, Amber. And now, as we draw nearer to a close, to remind our listeners again, if they're looking for more information, be it on the programs that you offer, events that you're taking part in or hosting, the processes and the processes, and more information and insights into how to get a placement or even volunteer, do you think that you could remind us again where they can find you and how they can reach you?
For sure. So we're on pretty much all of the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok's really fun too. You can find us under Sunrise DSS as our handle. And then you can also visit our website. So it's sunrisedss.ca. That's kind of the best way to get in touch with us for sure. Our phone number's on there and our email. So reach out anytime.
Well, that's absolutely amazing. And Amber, thank you so much for joining us today. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. It was really nice being here.
Well, we're glad to have you, and we're happy to have you back. Anytime you're willing.
Perfect.
Well, with that, we've reached the end of yet another amazing interview. You're listening to Community Partners, presented by Voices for Ability Radio. All abilities, all the time. I'm your host, Davy Au. Be safe, be kind, and I'll see you all next time.